Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. We're having a mixture of videos all crammed into one today. I'm watering, so those of you who don't like the clanging, go and play somewhere else because you're going to get some, because I haven't got time to mess about getting the other tray out, the plastic one. So we've got the glass one. In here I have my feed mixed up. For those interested in such menial things, my MSU went into around 250 parts per million. I then added CalMag and took it up to 340 parts per million. That's heavy on the CalMag in relationship to the percentages of the bits in the MSU. But it's a boost for a reason. There's also a bit of nitrogen and a bit of iron in that as well. It's not just calcium and magnesium. And the reason is to give everything a boost. Because of what I've done, rearranging everything, the plants are subject, probably, in the main, many, to more light than they've been used to, which encourages photosynthesis, which uses the magnesium. Yeah, so they're getting an extra bit of that to sort of get them going. The calcium adds strength into the plants basically. Normally I'd be using calcium nitrate, but you know, that adds a good dose of nitrogen with the calcium to back it up. But no magnesium, and I haven't got magnesium as a separate element, so that's why I'm using the CalMag. And then in addition to that, somebody actually asked about this in the Sunday chat. That, when measured, my pH was just on 6. And I want it around 6.5, 6.6 because I use organic media. The amount of time the moisture stays in the pot, subject to the organic media, the pH will drop. So by starting it quite high, as the plant takes some in, the water retains for a while, the pH starts to drop, and it gets access to all of the nutrients across the pH range. If I started low, it would go even lower and start locking things out. So that's why I do it like that. And I use this stuff, which is potassium silicate, so a type of silicon basically. It's a bit of potassium and quite a high percentage of silicon. And we need this because in that amount of water, which is about 4.5 litres I suppose, I don't measure it, I measure the TDS of the feed after I put it in. I don't need to know how much water's in there, if you see what I mean. 3 drips of that took it from just over 6 to 6.6. 3 drips of that stuff in that amount of water. That's how strong that stuff is. So don't go putting a capful in, will you? So that's just so that you know what went in, because some people are interested in that sort of thing. So that's what they're getting and why. Now I'm just getting stuff out of the way. This doesn't stay out here, but it can stay out here for now. That goes in the lounge, away from moist air, in case, well, the CalMag doesn't matter, it's got a sealed lid. The other one's in an airtight container, but I'd still prefer it was in a dry atmosphere. Right, so that's where we are. Now, what we're going to do is the one shelf at a time concept, except for it's going to be quite a few more than one shelf. I will go so far round. I'm only watering normal pots. I will do Derek's plants if I get there, including the one that's fallen over. I won't be doing my cooler, shadier set, so that excludes the Masdevallias, the Odontoglossum types. It excludes those because they get a different feed, much lower feed than this one. I mean, I'm up over 300 here. They would probably get less than 150, around 100, 120. They need very little feed. So I keep those separate, but everything else is going to get the same. I can't muck about doing, you know, some get this, some get that, some get the other. When I do a feeding run, a lot get the same thing. So that's what we're going to do, but we're going to play a new game. It's a 3-monthly cycle. As I pick each plant up, we'll have a quick look at it. Can't spend too much time on it. The thing I want to know is how wet they are, because I've been using the sprayer for a while now. They haven't had a proper watering for some time. I expect some to be quite dry. I expect some to be wet enough that they're not going to get anything today. They'll have to wait. Yeah, that may be true. So we shall see, because most of my things are in black pots. So if I'm using the sprayer, I can't see what they're getting. I can't see whether it's going down the sides to the bottom or whether it's staying at the top and nowhere near enough. I just can't tell. But I've always said some water is better than no water, and that would have been the alternative. I've been doing other things. So the game today, as we go round, I will have to stop after about somewhere between 15 and 20 plants. They're going to get a grade. A, B, C or X. A being doing really well, nice set of roots, growing, yeah. B, perhaps not quite so good, but not going downhill. C, getting a bit dodgy. X, might not last the 3 months. So in a bad way, basically. And I'm going to put a new column in my notes, which can have a date above it, and it will get updated hopefully every 3 months or so, providing I don't forget. So this is really the one at the start of the season. Other people's seasons in different parts of the world probably started a month ago, but I'm always late here. And we're just coming out of a cold spell. We've had quite a cold spell now, so my daytime temperatures haven't risen. So I'll plonk this round here somewhere where I can trip over it and not the camera flying. Oh, good idea. Somewhere like that. Is this thing zoomed in? No, it just looks a bit close, that was all. And then we'll pick each plant up, have a quick chat, quick look, do my ABCX thing, and don't forget this will be my grading. You might look at the plant and think, oh, I wouldn't have given that an A, I'd have given that a C. It's my grading, and I know where they're coming from and where I hope they'll be going to. And we'll try not to forget the coffee. Right. So starting here, we're looking at a plant that's only just been repotted, and this is the Encyclia Shinfong Thomas that was repotted with virtually no roots, and my objective here is to try and get some roots. Newly repotted plants without any roots don't get feed. That's a C. Yeah, it's just literally got virtually no roots, and it may not make it as a consequence. Next, this is my apple blossom. This was a good plant once, now it isn't. The newest growth here has pushed some roots out. Some of those roots have failed, so it's got very few roots nowadays. It needs another new growth. It's not doing very well, not doing very well at all. Right, let's get some watering done. So this one, I'll count it as a B because potentially, you know, it's not dying, it's not doing as well as it has done. But it's not going downhill, so we'll give that one a B. This one's an A. It's an A plus, an A star plus. This is a black hair type that will not stand upright because of this enormous cane sticking out here with all the buds on. For a black hair type, that is a mass of buds, and this cane over here has got another mass of buds. That's the latest two canes. And down at the base of these canes is some scale. Very, very small amount, but they're there. So I need to start getting my hot box running again before they start getting out of hand. See, that's If they were getting out of hand, that leaf that I've just taken off would have had scale all round inside. Yeah, but it hasn't. So they're not out of control yet. This has not been repotted. It's not going to get potted now. Yes, if you look under there, you can see them gathering. It's in a place where I can't rub them off as well. Oh, I can now. There's just one bit of bark in my way to get my finger there and squash them. Which is what I do with the ones I can see. As I see them, just squish them. But there's some I can't get at. So anyway, as I say, as a plant, that is an A star plus thingy. Doing very well. 2 magnificent new canes last year and about to be in a state of mass blooming. The blooms on this, this is an unnamed hybrid. Well, I haven't got a name for it. I suspect it's got infundibulum in it because the blooms are very similar, and you've seen those, we've had those recently. Right, next is my epidendrum. Yeah, epidendrum, Comet Valley Orange Star, and it's got a nice flower on it, yes, and it has grown a couple of new canes, but it hasn't really. This cane with the flower on is a kiki. It's not come from the base of the plant, and this other new growth here also is a kiki. I would class that as a C. That's not doing anywhere near as good as it should be. Unfortunately, it's a warm grower. People with the right conditions grow these in their gardens. They grow like a tatty looking bush covered in blooms. That's if you've got the right conditions, which you certainly haven't got in the UK. That's that one. And then this is Roy Tokunaga, probably the worst version of this you will ever see. Not a good plant. Most or much of this plant has died, and as a consequence this needs repotting out of the clay pot. Make use of the good roots around the reasonable canes and get rid of all these canes completely. They're possibly draining the plant. That's a C. But it's recoverable. So we should be able to bring that one back. It's got leaves on some canes and it's got some roots. Needs coming out of the clay pot because of the cooling effect of the clay pot. Water evaporation. This is an X. This is Dendrobium amabile, and there is no sign of life on this, and it's down to one leaf. Yeah, the leaves, the canes are quite shriveled. That one is soggy, absolutely soggy. That needs cutting off right now. Right at the base, and hopefully no liquid leaks out because the soggy bit is high up. Yeah, that's okay. Any others in that state? And that one's firm. That one's firm, that's the one with the leaf on. That's a waste of space. So what we've got is a very poor plant. Very poor. There's no sign of life at the base, but dendrobiums can surprise you. Nonetheless, that gets an X grade, and it possibly won't be there in 3 months because I got fed up with looking at it. So that one. And then the last one on here, I'll bring it down and water it, then it's going to go back where it came from, because wherever this is, it's in the way. And this is my Hercoglossum. And this has got buds on it in places. Not that easy to spot, but there are some. I know they're there because I saw them last time. Ah, there's some here. There's some spikes coming there. There's some better ones than that somewhere. Anyway, there are spikes coming. Oh, there's the good one, the one with the most buds on. So it is coming into bud, but it's got very few leaves left. It's lost a lot of its leaves. It's got some kikis with some growing tips, I plan on taking those off and starting those in separate pots rather than leave them on the plant in case the plant doesn't make it. It's another one that came off a mount and has not started growing since it came off the mount. On the mount it was failing miserably, so if I'd left it there it would be gone by now. Unfortunately the main plant may still be gone. It's going to get a C, and that is a shame. I've had that plant ages, but it will, at the moment it's not growing from the base. There is no sign of life at the base of the plant. It's just not growing. It's not dead by any means, as I say. It has got growing tips on some of the kikis, and some of those are canes rather than kikis. So it's not dead, but it's not doing well at all. I'll leave that up there so that I don't keep knocking it. And then we come round to this shelf, which is a lower one. This is mainly Paphiopedilums, and then we'll stop. Right, so this is Paphiopedilum lianum, which is a naturally occurring hybrid. I haven't repotted this. I don't know what's going on in the pot, but it has got new growths coming up. The plant itself looks healthy. I've got a manky leaf there with some marks on. Looks like those are physical damage marks rather than anything to worry about. It's got new growths pushing up. Nice new one here. Yeah, nice. This is a new growth. Another one here. It's a nice plant, but I don't know what's going on in the pot. So all I ever do with this is give it a trickle, because until it comes out of the pot and I can see what sort of root system we've got, it gets a little around the edge. So I don't ever soak this plant because, as I say, it might have a sloppy media down below here that I can't see, but the pot itself doesn't feel that heavy. That'll get an A. It's a nice plant. Next, another Paph, and this is Villossum variety Ambuinense, yes. And this is one that I have read is a bit reluctant to do roots, but I've got a new root tip. That'll do me, and I've got roots. There's plenty of roots, and there's another new root tip there. That's growing. That's okay. The latest new growth is here. That should provide some brand new roots. It's in bark, so it's almost impossible to overwater that. That'll get an A. It's a nice plant. Now I know some are going to say that isn't that feed level a bit high for Paphiopedilums? Talking to somebody who runs a Paphiopedilum nursery, he would disagree. He would actually say that's the feed's not too high. It's alright, this is either mealybugs or scale under here, and there were quite a few of them on one leaf. Any more anywhere? Nope, just that little bit. So we really do need to get our hot box running again. It's difficult to know when to use it. I want to put it on for about 4 hours. So the grow room has to stay sealed for 4 hours, which means Mojo can't get out, which he won't like. This is my Paphiopedilum Blackjack, it's the one with a good root system. Nothing wrong with this. Nice new growths coming, some pushing on quite well. Should flower again when those mature. Good root system, that's an A. This one is actually quite difficult to water because it's got so many roots. The water's got a job to get down in there, especially as a lot of the roots are sort of tangled around the base of the plant. But water it we will. So there we go. So that's see, the Paphs are doing quite well, aren't they? They never used to. I think it was just too hot in the other place. Right, another Paph, and this is the one with the ridiculously long name, so bad that it hasn't got a tag. and this one is reluctant to grow roots. Apparently you're unlikely to get roots on a new growth during the first year of its life, but it has got a new growth, and I notice it started a second one, so it is growing okay. Are there any signs of roots in the pot? No, so that gets the slightest amount of water. If it hasn't got roots, it's not going to use the water, is it? So until it grows some, it's living off its own resources, really. I mean, I do believe there are a couple of roots, but there certainly isn't much. There's no point having a soggy media if you haven't got the roots to use it. So we'll give that a B. It's a nice plant, but it needs roots, so it's not in a good state. Not in a good state. But it's not going downhill or anything. And then this one I'm not at all happy with. And this is Helvetia, or Helvetia. It's a T, T-I-A on the end. What I need is somebody who knows a bit about paths, who's actually got this, that can actually say that's how it grows. That is ridiculously pale in colour. Ridiculously pale. It's got very few roots and there's no sign of root growth in the pot. But it is pushing up new growths on the plant. And they seem to be a bit darker. Yeah? But those leaves are incredibly pale. So I need somebody who knows a bit about this sort of thing. Is that getting far too much light? Yeah? Is that what's wrong with it? It's difficult to say. But with little to no root activity, obviously it's not going to get a lot of water. So I watch it go down the sides and make sure that the whole thing isn't soaking wet. So that's that. That's going to get a C. I won't give it an X because it's not dying, but I'll give it a C because it's not doing well at all. Right, so that is all of that. No, it's not. He lied. Man speak with forked tongue. Tucked away in there is my Victoria Regina. Now that's recently been repotted. That didn't have very good roots, and we still haven't got any signs of life at the base or any active root activity, and the pot is still moist from when it was watered, so that doesn't get watered. It's not dying or anything, the canes are plump, it's just not actually growing at the moment, so it's between a B and a C. I'm going to give it a B. Right, now that's that shelf done. So I'll take a break, update my notes, drink my cup of cold, oh it's still warm, my cup of coffee, and we'll come back and I'll do another shelf. And that shelf's got an awful lot on it, but a fair bit of it is the cooler, shadier types. So we will do one more shelf. But what I'll do is I'll download what's on the video now and see how much there is. And if this makes a 15-20 minute video already, then I'll stop now and we'll do another one tomorrow. We'll move on to the next shelf. I'll film it today, but I'll save it for tomorrow so that there's something to come. Right, I may be back in a minute. Otherwise, I'll see you for part 2 tomorrow. Bye for now. Maybe.